Hi, my name is Beth, and I've chosen a page from the book The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I've chosen page 77. So, what's going on in the story right now is that Ponyboy and Johnny have run away from the city. Johnny has killed a boy, and they're hiding out in a church. And I've been in the church for several days, and they are watching the sunrise and describing some of the vivid colors that they see. Now, I noticed in the first part of Hinton's um, narrative where Johnny and Ponyboy live, she doesn't use any color to describe the city or their surroundings or their environment. In fact, the greasers are described as wearing white t-shirts. They have black hair. They've got blue jeans on. The Socias are described as having madras shirts, so there's a little color there. But for the most part, color is absent in her description of the environment that they live in the city. Now they're in the country, and Ponyboy has talked a little bit about seeing some of the green grass and some of the pink in the clouds as they escape the city, the kind of the drab, no color city life that they've been in. So they are sitting on the front steps of this church, and they're watching the sunrise, and they're describing some of the colors that they see. Now, this is important. The colors are coming up in the sun. The sunrise is important because the sunrise signifies a new day, possibilities, things can change. Perhaps Johnny has decided at this point to go to the authorities and turn himself in because uh, of what he had done. He's killed that boy. We don't really know about that, but we do know that there's some description about this sunrise. In fact, it says the sky was lighter in the east, and the horizon was a thin golden line. The clouds changed from gray to pink, and the mist was touched with gold. Now, here's an instance again where the word gold is used. We also saw where they used the word gold to describe Ponyboy's mother's hair. And now we are listening to Johnny talk about the grays and the pinks. So this is showing a little bit of emotion in the boys as they're describing something that's going on in nature. In fact, Johnny says that the mist was pretty. It was all gold and silver. Now, gold and silver is not only a color, but they're also precious metals, and they're valued. So perhaps Johnny and Ponyboy are valuing this time where they can sit. Things are relatively quiet. They can think about their life, what has happened so far. Maybe they'd like to change it. Um, Perhaps Johnny is valuing his time with Ponyboy. It's quiet. Johnny is away from his abusive father. They're away from all the chaos in the city. They're not really safe, but they're valuing this time together. So the boys are growing emotionally. They're showing some emotion in looking at the sunrise, and the sunrise is a promise of a new day. I think it's also interesting that Hinton has used Robert Frost's poem to talk about nature's first green is gold. Now, in nature, nothing changes. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Uh, Things grow, they get old, they die. In the poem, it talks about leaves coming out, and they mature, and they're green, and they're bright, and then they turn golden brown in the fall, and then they wither away. But we also know spring comes again, and the cycle starts all over again. So this passage of Robert Frost's poem is important to the story, is that our characters have changed. They are not the same boys they were several days ago. With the murder that's happened, they've had to grow up a little bit. They're on their own. They've had to run away from family and friends and that support network that way. They're trying to figure out if they're going to continue this life of just running away from their problems. They've also changed physically. They've changed their hair color. They've cut their hair. So this element of nature in here with this poem, and the fact that they're sitting within nature, they are changing and they're growing through what has happened. So this element of using nature as part of the story, as part of moving the story along, it tells us that change happens all the time. Change is inevitable.